So guys, let's talk about understanding your calories. Now, when I was growing up, I never understood this. I always watched my mum do yo-yo diets, and I kind of understood that women should have about 1,500 calories a day. The average man should have about 2,000 calories a day. And to be honest, that's not far out, but we're talking about your average person. And as we all know, men, women, we all come in different shapes and sizes. Everybody's got a different BMR, which is your basal metabolic rate. And I'll explain what that is in a moment. And so, although I don't encourage counting calories because it can be a faff, and as a single mum, busy parent, I know anything that becomes a faff is not sustainable. It's not something you want to keep doing all the time. There's no way I want to count calories and be weighing out my food, food prepping. I don't have time, but it is really important to be aware of the calories that you need in order to achieve the goal that you want to achieve. So BMR, if you don't know how many calories your body requires, I would encourage you to go on Google and type in the BMR calculator. It will ask you certain things like your age, your height, your sex, how active you are, and it will let you know what your BMR rate is if you were at rest. So if you were able to lay on your bed for 24 hours and do absolutely nothing, that's how many calories your body just naturally burns to keep you alive. If you eat that exact amount of calories, you won't lose weight, you won't gain weight, you will stay exactly as you are because you're just staying still. However, we don't stay still. I'm moving now. I'm burning calories as I'm moving. We also burn calories when we do exercise. And we also burn calories when we eat anything thermogenic. So when we eat our proteins, when we have our black and green tea leaves in our thermo tea, we're adding to that BMR rate all the time. So at the end of the day, the calculation of our calories that we've burnt is actually a little bit higher than our resting BMR. Does that make sense? So I'm going to try and keep this as simple as possible. I don't want to overcomplicate things. If my resting calories were, say, 1,300, but I don't sit still. I'm always moving, and sometimes I go to the gym, I drink my thermo teas, a lot of them. By the end of the day, I've probably burnt 1,800, 2,000 calories. Now, if I want to keep my weight the same, that's how many calories I'll have. 1,800, 2,000, depending on how active I've been that day. If I want to lose weight, I need to be about 400 or 500 calories underneath that. Now, MyFitnessPal is really good for calculating calories. I don't encourage it. Again, I don't want it to be a faff for you having to put in every little detail of food that you eat, but it's really important to know at the beginning so you get an idea and an understanding of how many calories you are consuming, especially if you're drinking, teas and coffees and drinks with calories in. People forget that. They think about the food they've consumed, but they do forget about the drinks that they're putting in their mouths. So if I'm wanting to lose weight, I'm just going to use myself as an example. If I've burnt 1,800 calories that day, I need to be eating about 400 or 500 calories less. So 1,300 calories is actually a good target for me. Another great tip, try not to think of it day to day. Try to think of it as a weekly amount. So my weekly total will be about 9,000, 10,000, okay? Now, if I know I'm going out at the weekend and I'm having a good old binge, some drinks, maybe a cheeky takeaway, consuming about 2,000 calories in one meal, one sitting, I know that I'm going to be spending my calories on that. So during the week, I'm going to reduce my calories by a little bit, maybe about 1,100 calories through the weekdays, so that I've got that money saved up almost, those calories saved up for that good old spend that I'm going to have at the weekend, which I'm going to regret and feel terrible on Monday, but we're all going to do it because we still live in our lives. Now, I'm not actually a fan of talking about calorie counting because I've had so many clients that have been on fad diets. It's all been about being in a calorie deficit, which means they've starved themselves, deprived themselves of the things they like, they've felt lethargic, they've lost weight too quickly, which has felt great at the time. Then they've put it all on again, which has really affected their mental health. Herbalife is so wonderful because it's very nutrient dense in a calorie efficient way. So we're having our proteins, which is helping keep our muscle mass nice and high, which is protecting our skeleton. We're having our carbohydrates, which is giving us energy. We don't cut carbs for marbs, it's ridiculous. We have healthy fats for our eyes, brain and heart health, our fibre for our gut health. 80% of your immune system is in your gut, guys. So when you look after the insides, everything else is different. And also water, we're hydrating ourselves as well, which makes us heavier. Water is so heavy. Now I am going to do a second video about weight loss because we all associate weight loss with that number on the scales. We weigh ourselves every single morning on here, but I'm going to try and shift you away from that diet mentality and focusing on that number. Because I do explain to my clients, when we start Herbalife, depending on their lifestyle before, it might be that their body needs to gain some muscle. It might need to gain some water. You could be very dehydrated. Really depends on what you've had previously. You're a coffee drinker. And so our body's a very complicated computer. It knows exactly what it needs to do. And when you start putting good stuff in, you will get the very best out. Your body's in optimal condition and it will burn body fats. Your centimeters will reduce. Your clothes will get baggy. You'll lose visceral fats around your organs, which is just extending your life. This is not just about getting you the outer result. This is about longevity, extending your life, increasing the quality of your cell production, and making you feel fantastic.